Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is the second episode of Know Your Expert. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with the buyer agent specialist, Jason Galbraith. He is on the Mayer-Harman team, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about how to get ready to buy your home or real estate. Thanks for joining me today, Jason.
No problem. My pleasure.
So can you tell us a little bit more, I guess for starters, before we get into the process of looking at buying, can you give us a picture of what the market looks like today in 2021?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to. So everyone's probably seeing news feeds on their Facebook, social media. You're seeing the news. If you have been living under a rock, the GTA is on fire right now. It's a very inventory driven, high demand market. We're looking at some of the record lowest levels of inventory. In classic economics, you have a low supply, you increase demand. That's as simple as I can explain it. And then you also factor in what I'm calling the COVID migration. People refinancing or selling their homes in Toronto and moving out an hour, 2 hours, getting into these rural properties and getting into these peripheral communities that were previously deemed too far. But in the essence of being able to work from home and our society's shift towards virtual and adapting to the COVID-19 situation, these peripheral markets have become a hotspot. So we in real estate measure inventory with a term called months of inventory. It's essentially the liquidation rate of how long it would take for current inventory to disappear and have nothing. On a 1 to 5 months of inventory is classified as a seller's market, and 5 and beyond is a buyer's market. Since the beginning of 2021, we have been seeing in the GTA area, some communities' months of inventory getting as low as 0.25, 0.3 months of inventory. That is on the most aggressive side of the spectrum on the months of inventory scale. So we have more buyers looking for properties than properties that there are for sale. And that's why we're in an aggressive market. So if you're getting ready to buy, if buying is a goal of yours in 2021 or somewhere on the horizon, buckle up, fasten up. You're in for a ride, but it's a worthwhile goal. I still believe it's a great investment. I would never bet against real estate, especially in the peripheral area of Toronto. Unless our industry can magically create a couple 100,000 homes overnight, which we can't, I just don't see this demand going anywhere. What's more, especially people wanting to shop in the condo world or in the lower price points, low-rise residential. So as the president of the Brampton Real Estate Board, I get privy to being able to talk to people, meet people in the industry, gurus, and get to brush shoulders and hear the ideas of many people. Last week, I hosted a podcast with Jason Mercer, the chief market analyst of Toronto Real Estate Board. And essentially what he said is, he doesn't forecast this aggressive increase in prices to really slow down. Again, it's an inventory-driven process, but something he did want to make mention is if anyone has a goal of, say, purchasing a condo, like I was saying a moment ago, in Toronto, we've heard a lot of talk lately about the condo market having simmered, or in some situations, condo prices having gone down. I've heard percentages ranging up to 5-10%. I think it depends on the building, the location, and many factors. It's not a generic number that we can throw out. But Canada is a land of immigrants. There's very few people that can say that they've been here for hundreds of years. So as a country, we're dependent on immigration. And since COVID started, immigration has been cut completely right off. There is talk of them having to open up the borders again for immigration, maybe at the end of 2021, 2022. And a bulk of these people, when someone immigrates to Canada, no offense to Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, but they're not going there. They're going to Vancouver and they're going to Toronto. Okay. And these two markets get to benefit greatly from this constant influx of immigration into the area. If and when this immigration commences again, you can guarantee that the highest competition is going to be seen at the lowest price points of housing, and this is going to involve condos. So if anyone has a purchase of a condo, especially in downtown Toronto on the horizon, now's the time. It's an aggressive seller's market out there, but it's a worthwhile goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Jay, can you tell me a little bit about what a buyer needs to do to prepare for getting into purchasing real estate?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, when we buy real estate, when you're making massive investments, it's all about the numbers. We need to know what we are pre-approved for. That's the term in the industry for having talked to a lending institution and knowing what they are prepared to give you as far as a mortgage amount goes. When banks and institutions look at a candidate for a mortgage, they look at three primary factors. They're looking at what kind of down payment are you bringing to the table for this purchase. They're looking at your credit score. This can easily be checked on a Credit Karma or Equifax to give you an up-to-date baseline. And they're looking at your income to make sure that your ratios, you can afford to sustain and maintain a home. When someone's getting ready to buy, I talk about assembling the right team. So this involves, of course, the realtor. And if you're anywhere in my area, I'm obviously advocating for myself and the Mayer-Harman Team services. But getting a good realtor, you need to get a lender. So, this could be a private financing. That's going to be very expensive. It could be a mortgage broker, or it could be a bank. In my experience, in my business, I am a firm advocate for mortgage brokers over banks. I just find now there are great people that work at banks. There are people that go above and beyond for their clients. I am not knocking this, but in my experience, when someone's working for commission and only gets paid for a successful resolution of a transaction, you can assure that they're going to go above and beyond to make sure that that deal happens and you get the service that you need. Because as a business person, you're also looking for referrals. So every time you have a client, that's an opportunity to make another lifetime advocate and a walking, talking billboard for your services. So
you're advocating for mortgage brokers instead of banks or banking employees, because the mortgage broker is their own business owner who is incentivized to help ensure that you get your mortgage at the best rate and can choose between a bunch of different lenders.
You got it. And I like to go one step further. When you're working with a bank, you're only going to see the products that are distributed and owned by that banking institution. As a mortgage broker, they can usually see what products and mortgages are being offered from various institutions. So it increases your shopping ability to shop around.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So say someone's got this pre-approval from this mortgage broker now, okay, they've had a consultation with you, or they're coming to you for a consultation. Mm-hmm. How does that go?
So it depends on where you live relative to the realtor or how far out you're moving. But what it boils down to is you need a buyer presentation, a consultation presentation. So that could involve coming into the office, which, in our situation, we are set up for social distancing and we have all the barriers and PPE necessary to conduct person-to-person interviews and appointments, or it could be through some sort of virtual means. But the role of a buyer consultation appointment is, first off, the agent should be able to convey with confidence to you about how they are the best person to help you with achieving your goal. They're going to talk about locations. They're going to weigh in on market trends. If we don't have the highest pre-approval, their local expertise will help dictate perhaps isolating which neighborhoods we should focus our search in. We will talk about the process of making an offer, what is being observed in the market, talking about your goals, talking about what is important to you, what concessions you aren't willing to make as a family or as a purchaser in this property. These are all things that, as a buyer specialist, I need to know, and then once I know all this information, I can get them set up on a search. I can also be actively doing my own searches for them on a day-to-day basis as well, because it's very much an early bird catches the worm situation. Things are disappearing pretty quick. In some cases, things are disappearing on the market day 0, day 1, day 2 on the market. So all the more reason that you need to have your finger on the pulse on that search. And then, during this consultation appointment, I would go over our referral vendor list. So in the essence of, making that team, we need a lawyer. So I could be, I'd be recommending the lawyers that we've used, recommending various services. recommending mortgage brokers, the whole 9 yards. And more or less, I find, especially with my first time home buyers, that buyer consultation is literally just one massive question and answer period. There's a lot of misconceptions. There's a lot of making sure that the buyer knows that once they get going, what's the follow, what's the come up, and what they need to be doing in order to maximize their chances of success.
Okay. So the buyer presentation, during that period of time, what I seem to understand is that you're going to go through a process where you're going to get educated about what inventory is out there. You're going to be asked if you know what your pre-approval amount is, and then you're going to have to choose whether or not that realtor is going to be a good match for you. What are some ways that people can compare an agent to an agent at these types of presentations? Like, for instance, in a selling situation, you can compare their list to sales ratio. Is there something like that for a buyer's agent?
Well, the stats aren't as sexy on the buyer side as they are on the seller side right now. The reality is every buyer's agent out there right now, most of the offers being accepted are going over asking. So to go off of a percentage sale to list ratio, I wouldn't suggest is the best strategy. What it boils down to is what I would say is a track record of success, just getting those offers accepted in the first place, which is a massive feat in itself. If an agent can show you deals that they've done recently, especially if they're in areas that are within the vicinity of where you're looking. Oh, I see my dog is making an appearance. Then that's what you need to do. You can go scour their social media, check out their websites. Testimonials are a very important tool in our industry. If an agent doesn't have testimonials ready to give you, or some sort of video content for you to review to further your understanding of what they offer and what they're all about, then that would be a red flag in my opinion. And then of course referrals go a long way too. If you had a family member, a friend, or family refer you to a particular agent, then that's a big vetting process in itself as well.
Yeah, good to know. Awesome. Is there anything else that a buyer needs to know about getting ready for the purchase?
Well, now is not the time to be buying a truck, financing new things. Make sure it's pretty much all about the finances, making sure you're clearing out your debts, not racking up your credit cards, get those debts down. Don't go financing anything and messing up with your ratios. Work on that down payment. These are all things that you can be doing leading up to. In fact, if buying a house is something that's on like a 0 to 6 month timeline, you should be thinking about these finances a year in advance, making sure your taxes are all paid up, and that you're in good standing, making sure that if you have any issues with your credit score, doing things and embracing techniques to increase it. Focusing on the financing is definitely what I would say is your big takeaway for getting ready.
Makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Jay. I know a lot of buyers are appreciating the getting to know how to get prepared to start purchasing a property. So next video, we're going to be talking about actually making an offer and getting a house, or getting or purchasing real estate. So stay tuned for that. And thanks again, Jason. This has been great talking to you.
Thank you.
All right. See you soon.